Hello, I am Monotropic Mango, and I have been wanting to make this video for a little while. It's been at the back of my head, literally. You'll see what I mean. Before I begin, I am undiagnosed, self-diagnosed, autistic. I am in that imposter syndrome state. My reasons for not having a diagnosis is just money and personal stuff. But, you know, I am in that sort of middle state. Whether I am or not, though, my journey has been an interesting one, trying to discover my own psychology. I spent a few years writing a play to try and really grasp what was going on in my head. Why am I struggling? When I came to the end of the play, or just after that, I came across ADHD, what that can mean for people, and then moved into autism. And I've just been researching it really, and really become intrigued in autism now, and it's sort of become what you might call a special interest, and we'll get into special interests soon. So, as I say, I'm undiagnosed, so if you feel uncomfortable with me talking about the psychology of neurodivergent people via an image with a mango, please leave. You know, this is just part of my journey. And also, I'm not talking about other people, really. I'm just trying to grasp what's going on in my mind, and what that could mean for autism, I suppose. So we'll get straight into it. I had this visual in my head for a while now. You can see I've already started. This is my visual. Okay, this is how I've been thinking about it, and you might be able to guess what I'm looking at, or what you're looking at here. So I haven't really got names, but this is basically layers of the mind. So on the outside, this is literally, the red is like, it's the outside. It's the outside world. It's the world we don't really understand. We're in it, and that's how it is. We can't escape that. Then we have this wall. So I've made this sort of like, this is a wall. This here, as you can tell, is the masking layer. So really depends on the day, depends on who you are as a person, where you would be on the spectrum, how much your masking is, and of course neurotypical people would have a masking layer as well. I'll talk to you a little bit about that later. Anyway, so then what I've got here is I've got these two little lock signs. These are our security layers, right? And this one's really important. This is the most important one for me. This is the core of our being. It's where the special interests are that really keep us stable and hold us to the ground, you know, without falling completely apart. Okay, so just to get us started, my special interest here I've put in there is Doctor Who. I also have a mango smoothie. I love mango smoothies. But I could, of course, put in other elements. And if you wanted to do something like this yourself, you might want to use images. I'm just going to do text to be quick with it. So animation, comics, these things really keep me stable. And I'm not just talking about watching animation, I'm talking about making animation. I'm not just talking about reading comics, I'm saying making comics. And storytelling, I'll probably put that in there as well. Storytelling. This is all part of the creative stuff. So this is the artsy stuff over there. You got your Doctor Who. Also, this is kind of, it's a lot of, I don't know, this is the same for a lot of people with autism. I mean, the whole Thomas the Tank Engine thing is a good example, but it's a lot of the time these core special interests do come from your childhood, and that doesn't have to be the case. There can be lots of things that you come across later in life that you add to it, or, of course, these things will, depending on the day, move out here into the less focused interest. But these, they are the core ones, right? So I'll just go with these so far. So I guess I put in The Sims, which was an interest of mine when I was younger, and it still is. I haven't played The Sims 4, but I have a very special interest in the first 3 Sims. I just adore them. I'll put in there as well Peanuts. Peanuts is a comic strip, but it's very special. I'm very interested in the artist and all that. And you could put these. This is just very basic, tip of the iceberg titles here. It's obviously a complicated thing. So outside of that, in here, you may have, these elements move around a lot, but okay, so I enjoy bike riding. That makes me happy. So writing, theatre. The reason I put that in this one is because I feel like these elements, bike riding and writing, theatre, they're things I really enjoy, and they do make me feel safe and comfortable, but they aren't the core special interest. They come and go throughout the year, or I may find new things. This is a very flexible layer, this one's less flexible. It is flexible though, but it is less flexible. And then this one is I forgot a very important special interest actually, which is this musician Damon Albarn, who goes in here. You shouldn't be embarrassed about your special interest, guys. Come on, you shouldn't be embarrassed. No, stop it. Okay, what else have we got? So here's a big one. Here's a big one for you guys, and a controversial one. Family, loved ones, or even just, one person, a friend. You can have a special interest that's a friend, of course, and that can sometimes get you in trouble. But family, I'd say my family is in my top special interest. They are my core security. And then I don't have a special interest friend at the moment, but I have done, so maybe my partner is. I don't know, but let's give you an example. And the other one I want to put in here, which I think a lot of people would put in the top here. It really depends on who you are. This may be very, very necessary for you. For me, routine is because of my research, it suggested that routine is very important for autistic people. For me, it is important, but not as important. It's not my core, so I could probably put it here. And the reason routine is important, I think, is the answers right here as well. It's because these things, you need to have time to reflect, and this is your reflection bubble. For some reason, there's another childhood thing. I really like narrowboats. I've never actually been on one. I've really just seen them on television, but for some reason they make me feel calm just to think about them. I guess it's because of their colours, their design, how slow they move. I quite like that. I've written Quasson on my list. I don't know why I've written Quasson in my second special interests bubble. I do like croissants, but I don't know why I wouldn't put it in there. Maybe I would. Okay. I know what I was talking about. Okay. What I'm talking about is good, for me, good food. If I'm feeling stressed, which is every day, and we've got to do something that is going to stress me out, maybe just go to the shop or go to the park. If I know there's going to be a good food there, that I know is good food, I'm a bit of a foodie. I do love most foods. I don't really have any texture issues with food, luckily for me. And so I like most foods. And so if there's going to be good food there, my stress levels, I can bring them down a bit. And then, of course, when I get the food, it's like, I feel just like I do when I'm doing any of these things. So That's what I was talking about with croissant. That's great. I'm so glad. Okay, so what have we got in the masking layer? The masking layer has all those things that you're responsible for, you are required to do, and you make it work. So, birthdays, dates, yeah, so real life things, you know, and this is everyone's different, you know. If your special interest is birthdays and dates, then of course it will be right in the top bubble. You know what I mean? This is how you can do it yourself. What have I got here? Job? Your job. You make it work, or you try to make it work, depending on... Now, this is a real good one, actually, a real important one, because I'm going to make it nice and big here. Job is one of the most important things in the whole world, right? It's how you feed your family. It's how you feed yourself. It's how you have a roof over your head. It's how you do all this stuff. It's really hard to get one, and it's really hard to make that work with finding some place to live, all that stuff, right? Anyway, imagine just for a second that your job is up here. Oh my gosh! Imagine that. And the way that would happen is, of course, is if your job connected with any of these things. Well, probably the top ones if you're going to be lucky. Imagine if I had a job on Doctor Who. Imagine I had a job listening to Damon Albarn music. Imagine I had a job playing The Sims, or just talking about The Sims for no reason. Imagine if I had a job reading comics. Imagine if I had a job making comics, which has probably been my goal for the last few years. I had a successful newspaper comic strip. Unfortunately, it was all voluntary. I got a small bit of money on the side from certain events, and that was the best experience of my whole life, to do that, to get money from doing something I love. But unfortunately, for the most part of my life, I was also an animator when I was really younger for TV. Great. But for the most of my life, and for most people's life, most autistic people's life, your job's probably in the masking layer. Okay? Unless you're lucky, it could travel, but that's where it's going to be. Now, if your job... I suppose I want to say, I just said it's going to travel, right? If your job is too much, which it quite often is as well, it can travel to this layer. I think most jobs probably travel there, you know, throughout the day. It's going to be moving back and forth, but yeah. Anyway, we'll pop it in there for now. What else we got here? Yes. Bills. Bills. Yeah, bills. This is dishes, housework. Okay, all these things you are capable of, but they're just a bit harder. And so if you can incorporate an element of these into your bills, into your birthdays and dates, it makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, and there's ways to focus on these things, but it is trickier. So probably the big one, I'm going to do it in capitals now. Conversations. People. Of course it's in the masking layer. That's the only place it's going to be. Right? No, it can go there. Conversations are... You have the power. You have the power to learn how conversations work with most people who you don't feel comfortable talking to. And you can get through them, and you fall through them like you're falling down a cliff. And you're hitting each side, and if you land on your feet, you've done it, and you can actually go, yes, and walk away. But sometimes you do hit the floor. Ouch. And it's a little stressful, and you come home and you're like, you don't really know why you feel tired, but it's probably because of this. So conversations is of course in the masking layer. Now, for the outside layer, this is the big outside world. You know, these things, depending on the person and the day, as I said before, dishes, housework, conversations, they can all travel, okay, between these two layers, yellow and red. The masking and the outside. I haven't really come up with real names for them, but I'll say it's the outside. It's the intrusive layer. So another thing I wanted to talk about was with conversation. I'll make that bold and bigger. Conversations is an interesting one because as part of masking, you've got two techniques, I reckon. One is what I was saying. I've written conversations twice. It's that bad. You can try and work out where these things are going to go, how they can go, what you're going to say. One of my methods is throw in a laugh, throw in a joke, a lot of jokes to try and get you out of it. Like, ha ha, oh yeah, ha ha. You walk away thinking that was a nice guy. But I can't go any deeper than that. I don't know you. Anyway, conversations are interesting because the way I see it, when you're trying to have a genuine conversation as part of masking, you're trying to connect yourself with any of these, with your interests, right? So let's say, for example, someone comes up to you and says, oh, the weather's nice today, isn't it? Well, maybe this is a bad example, but because you can look outside and see the weather. But first of all, you could just say, yes, I like it, right? That's not a very good conversation. So you try and think of connections to, and this is why it's kind of stressful. Other people, I think, neurotypical, just they think it's quite easy to think of these connections, whatever. I don't know, but you have to think about all your different core special interests and interests before you can give a full conversation, and that's a struggle. It's hard, and sometimes it makes it difficult. So someone said about the weather, okay, can I connect that with my writing interests? Maybe, I don't know. Bike riding, yes, can use that, but it's not a core special interest, so it might not come up in my brain first. My friend, I certainly could mention my friend. He likes the day, or maybe he likes the dark. Maybe I could say that. Maybe I could say, oh, my friend, he only likes the dark. You know, but it might be a weird conversation. You have to go through all these possible scenarios. Damon Albarn, he's done some dark songs. No, it doesn't make sense. Mango smoothie. I love the mango smoothie on a summer's day. But if I reply saying, I love a mango smoothie, or it's a good day for a mango smoothie, they're going to think I'm a weirdo, you know, or I'm trying to make a joke. I'm not actually trying to make a joke. It's not a genuine joke. Just because it's random and sounds odd and out of place, it's not a joke. It's just me trying to think of something to say. Animation comics can't really connect it to that. Unless, for some crazy reason, I was doing a comic that day, I could say, I drew a sun today. Weird. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say it is tricky to smooth out conversation. Okay, so that's what I mean, conversation. And of course, if the conversation goes astray, it does go into this intrusive red mist. And you can't mask anymore. And so in that scenario, you may get worn out. So what else am I going to put in the red layer? I'm going to put random events. Things you didn't plan for, expect to happen. Why are they there? Why? Because that's how crazy life is. Okay? Noise. So noise, I don't have too much sensitivity to noise. I am diagnosed with audio processing disorder, which I can tell affects when multiple sounds are happening at the same time. I can't work out what one person's saying. I also have the full, concentration, focus, hyper focus on whatever I'm doing. Even if I'm just in a shop and there's like a bunch of shelves with stuff I'm not even interested in, I will hyper focus on those. I had to once just leave a shop, trying to look at the floor to avoid things. And the TV, if someone's trying to interrupt me between watching the TV, even if it's a show I'm not that interested in, really, but I am so hyper focused on it, I'm looking at everything, really. I'm looking at the set, I'm looking at the animation, I'm looking at the facial expressions, I'm looking at the colors, like the sound. I'm concentrating on every element, and this is part of, because I could put in there in my specials film. I love film. And media, basically. There's a whole bunch of, I'm a core media person, I would say. So I do have some elements with noise, and if there's too many noises happening, it's annoying. But I think with me, it's like if lots of things are happening that are trying to affect me, rather than just general noise. If people all want my attention, and I'm got attention on this other thing, and there's only maybe like 3 things happening, maybe even 2, but those things can stress me out. So it's sort of sound related, it's more processing related. But I put noise in there because that is very common. Yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to say on this, on the general autistic mind visual that I have. But I did make some others with no words. So let's go to a good day. And you can see on a good day, the main core special interest layer is bigger and brighter and happier. So maybe I've been doing some comics. Maybe I've been doing some drawing. I've been working on a film. I've been making some music, whatever. I've been listening to Blur all day. That's Damon Albarn music. Maybe I've been playing The Sims for a few hours. There's short-term things. I'm going to play around. I'm going to put The Sims in there, and I'm going to put. No, I'll keep Damon there. Anyway, so you can tell that, and this will probably be that's you can play around whatever size. That the core is bigger, and so the masking is bigger. The masking is stronger. And so those outside intrusions you can deal with better. Now, obviously, autism is a spectrum. This is just me. I have really good days, or at least very good half days, and other people with more required support and things like that, they might not be able to get that masking layer. So now I'm going on to a bad day. This is a bad day. So on a bad day, the intrusive outside layer is coming right in there with conversations and bills and random events and noise and whatever. And so the wall is crashing in. The masking layer is so thin. You can't, and in that scenario, you're doing your blank faces. You're doing your looking away. You're doing your just don't want to be here. You're lying on the couch for hours because you can't move, or you need to get in a dark space, and this is all getting crumpled. That's all gone. No mango smoothie for you. And what it feels like is this. It feels like it's dead, right? It feels like that is dead. You're dead. Yep. It's miserable, but that's how it goes. Hopefully on a general day you can look a bit more like that. But anyway, you're dead. This is my crazy attempt. Mango is curious. At a neurotypical mind. So again, I'm undiagnosed. I'm imposter syndrome, man. So I don't know where I am, but I'm crazy and I'm doing it. So neurotypical mind. What does that look like? I came up with this idea while I was at work, Actually, I was watching a video, and it was talking about it was a neurotypical person. Whoa! There goes everything I dropped. And they were just saying that it feels like they mask when it's required, right? When, a work event happens or somebody requires something of them, but it's in patches throughout the day, in patches, very small patches probably. And then the rest of it, I also removed completely the core special interest layer, because I really do feel like that's a specifically autistic thing, this core special interest layer, which is something that is relied upon to guide a person. I don't think that core special interest layer is there. If it is, it's all nicely dispersed in this interest layer, which means conversations can flow smoothly, and interest, you can gain great interest in lots of different things, but they don't control you. They don't mean that you can they don't stop you from walking from one room to the other, because you're so enveloped in your interests. And when I talk about this layer, I'm not talking just about these interests, really. I'm talking about a special core that just holds things together. So it might be none of your special interests. It may just be feeling silence. Actually, I'm going to put that right in there. I'm just going to put peace and quiet. Peace and quiet is going in there. It's a special interest, okay? Ooh, this poor mango out here. Anyway, so that's it. The masking layer is of course there. The outside intrusive layer is of course there, because neurotypical people have to deal with all sorts of things as well, but they're just slightly less on edge as autistic people, because of these extra layer and how the masking layer is. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video. I know it was a rant, but I've been wanting to talk about this little design or diagram for a little while now that I've been thinking about. And I made this on CANVA, by the way. Everything's free. Everything I used is free, shapes and designs and stuff. So feel free to go on there, and if you do do a diagram, feel free to send it to me or something. Alright, see you later. Do a video yourself, that'll be cool.